If you're a history nut, you've probably been to the Smithsonian, you've been to some really cool museums in the whole country. But if you live somewhere like Cabarrus County, North Carolina, you might not know your history right here in the middle of your county and one of our most fascinating stories. So today, friends, I want to tell you a little bit about Cabarrus County. So if you live here, you'll know a little more about where you live. And if you're thinking about moving here, you'll know if this spirit matches your fire. Now, I'm a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution. I'm very grateful that my patriot ancestors served in the Revolutionary War and have been part of this country's fabric since back in the colonial days, including right here in Cabarrus County. Now, our Cabarrus County Daughters of the American Revolution chapter is called the Black Boys chapter, but many folks don't know why. So just listen to me for a minute and I'll tell you the whole story. It's a pretty great one and pretty amazing to think about the parallels to where we are in the U.S. today. Now, this gun here, this piece of field artillery, this is not Revolutionary era. This is from the early 1900s and was donated to the Daughters of the American Revolution by the French government. The DAR then gave it to Cabarrus County, where it now sits as a beautiful monument right here on Union Street in downtown. So here's what happened prior to the American Revolution. A lot of people just don't know the cool parts of history, y'all. But prior to July 4th, you had this movement called the Regulator Movement. The Regulator Movement was bubbling up in North Carolina in the late 1760s when the regular people were getting sick and tired of tax corruption, sick and tired of corrupt officials pushing them into poverty and taking their land. Not a good time. And so the Regulator Movement said, you know what? This area needs to be about the people and not about the elites. And so thousands of American, well, they weren't Americans yet, thousands of citizens in the American colonies decided that they would work together to tell this corrupt government, you have to stop. Well, of course, the colonial government, being made up of elites and lawyers and all the big money, said we're going to put them down. And so there was going to be a shipment of gunpowder from the north to the south to stop all these ragtag militia-minded patriots. Well, right here in Cabarrus County, in May of 1771, 9 young men heard about this shipment of gunpowder. Now, they were going to church at Rocky River where Alexander Craighead was the pastor. Craighead, of course, if you watched my earlier video, was the guy who inspired the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence, the one that Thomas Jefferson plagiarized for the U.S. Declaration of Independence. So they were in a church that was all about the people and making sure that everybody had a voice. So when they heard about this gunpowder, they said, you know what? We could stop that colonial power by taking out the gunpowder. So these 9 young men find out where it's going to be stored. They covered their faces in soot so as to be disguised, and going in under the cover of night where nobody could see them, they laid a trail of gunpowder to this stockpile, just like in a Looney Tunes cartoon, took their guns, shot it to set it off, it traveled up, and kerblooey! The explosion was heard 9 miles away. Now, of course, now they're in really bad shape. They're treasonous to the colonial government. They were going to be hanged if they didn't hide. So they hid in ravines and hollers and in the woods and by the rivers, and they had to hide from May of 1771 until 1776. And by the way, it was the local ladies who fed them. They said, those are our boys, and they are making sure that everybody who lives here has an opportunity and has a voice. So that's where the name of the Cabarrus Black Boys comes from. It's where this spirit of this area comes in. You have people here who love making sure that everybody has a chance, making sure that everybody has a voice, and we always want to protect that in North Carolina and, of course, throughout the United States. So the next time you drive by a monument, ask a question, read the placard, and call somebody who's a history nut, and we'll tell you more, because when you come to live here, whether you've been here for generations or you're brand new, we want you to know the story so you too can make sure that all the people have a voice and we don't ever let the elites take us over. You want to buy a house here? You call this girl. I'll help you out, and you might just learn a little something along the way.